5 minutes or so if need be. Okay.
Man.
Great.
Supervisor, I apologize if I start going into a coughing fit in the middle of the meeting. I'm not sick anymore, but I'm not coughing towards the baby carrier here.
Just remember,
I don't want to get you guys germy, so that's why I grab the keys.
you gotta turn some other way.
Turn my back to the audience.
Now my nose is, like, what's going on? I'll have it off most of the time anyways.
Yeah, they never gave the address.
11, 12.
Any secret?
Do I thank Mark now for choosing you to work
You guys can go to town.
How's that?
Yeah.
Working on it. Peter? That's the information. This is the information.
Oh, we do
Oh,
it.
beautiful. Good, that's all I want. I'm having a disagreement with you.
Hello.
You know what? Trying to get a meeting in downtown Buffalo, have a discussion. If I don't get it
You're
in my
live
mind,
streaming?
I'm gonna go to the political.
They change something.
Years.
Putting the brand on.
That's the argument.
Even though it had COVID and it didn't really like it.
Submit to them and they have to look at it. And right now, so it's like,
5, 6 days. I was feverish.
That'll go. That's where they're.
yeah. So I'll try downtown once, discussion.
Yep. That's how it was proposed. I mean,
That's
Going around.
that's insane.
I took COVID 3 times.
I got an email last Thursday, Friday.
Thankfully.
yes, but the area that they're disturbing is already.
But that was submitted way before any.
All right, I got 6:30. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the work session of Lancaster Town Board for April 7, 2025. This evening, we have one presentation by Mr. Peter Sorgi. Did I say that right? Sorgi?
No, that's fine.
Sergi, okay, by Peter Sergi. Mr. Sergi, anytime you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I was just telling Matt, it's been a few years since I've been here. This was an easel, so I wasn't prepared, but he was. I'm the project attorney, so this is a proposed battery storage project at 928 Ransom Road. It's going to take place at about 9.5 acres out of a 26-acre site. And so right now, we have not applied to the town. We are just trying to go through the pre-application process. We want to get in front of the planning board with a rough concept plan, show them with our intent to apply the month after. So it is a 100 megawatt project. It should have a 15-year life. Of course, it will have a decommissioning plan. It is zoned properly for the use. I know there's some extra hurdles. There's I believe the tree protection overlay district is there. But we just wanted to, I know we submitted this to you with a little bit of history of the company, the actual project area, the concept plan, which is what you're looking at now. This does back up to the railroad tracks on Ransom Road, or right off of Ransom Road. And all we're really looking to do today is to answer any questions you may have, and just to get the go-ahead to go to the planning board, just to go over the concept with them.
Okay, guys. Could you turn off your cell phones or mute them or do something with them, please? My first question is, what about the safety of this battery storage facility?
Yeah,
And then Ron, if you want to jump in here at any point as well, feel free. But if you could, give us some basics with what's going on there.
We'll go through all the safety issues or concerns during the actual project. If there's any additional training or requirements that the fire company or any emergency providers have, we certainly will meet with them. I do understand the concern. We believe that it's a very safe thing. I know there's been an issue with one, at least in the North Country in New York State, but, we'll have to go through that as we go through the process.
Okay.
Whatever safety issues that come up, we'll address them.
Okay. I'd recommend, we don't want to wait till somewhere down the road, that
Yeah.
when you come to us in the first place, that you have all the answers to the safety questions on that.
That'll be part of the-
Obviously, it's going to be a huge part of it.
Fire
sorry?
safety programs,
Right.
so on and so forth.
That'll be part of the application packet.
Okay.
So it'll be an extensive application.
Ron, anything at this point, or you want to
Fire
just?
safety and fire establishment are going to be the biggest questions and the biggest problems. I'll give Mr. Sturkey my business card before he leaves.
Okay.
So that he has my contact information.
So a few years back, our boards and legislative body adopted battery energy storage requirements in our local law. It reflected the model law at the time as the industry was developing. And a lot of that information is in our local law. Contact information, the availability of the operator, how do we incorporate the local fire departments into responses and the drills, the emergency response actions, decommissioning plans. It's a pretty comprehensive set of regulations specifically designed for battery energy storage. And again, when that model law came available, and I think we adopted it along with our solar permitting or our major solar portion of our code. So again, it's very comprehensive, it's current, it's up to date. So if you have interest in it, please peruse that. I'm happy to discuss any of the finer points of those things. I've had these discussions with this operator and several others that are making or attempting to make contract purchases for properties. And it's right adjacent to the existing NICEAD grid to tie right into that grid.
Okay. All right, and we want to make sure that our fire chiefs are all involved also in what's going on here. And again, if there has been any changes, that isn't in there, we want to make sure that we do something about that as
A
well.
lot of those are a mandatory requirement in the legislation.
Sure. Okay.
And we did look at the code, and it's pretty thorough, so we'll have everything addressed with their application packet.
Any other questions from the board?
When the batteries are decommissioned, what happens?
You know what, I don't answer that question, there'll be more of the technical people will answer that. I do believe they're recycled or used in some manner like that.
Can I make a recommendation? We
Sure.
dealt with a solar facility. We
Right.
had they had to put a bond to make sure that it was going to be paid for the decommissioning
Oh,
of
yeah.
the facility. So
That's standard.
That's going to be coming. Okay.
Oh, yeah, we know that's a requirement,
Okay.
so yeah, absolutely.
Anything else from the board members?
No, I feel confident with his connection with Ron and Ron overseeing any fire safety issues.
Great.
Yeah, we know it's going to be many, many months of a process, and we'll, like I said, we just want to get to the planning board, make sure that they have, just give them a quick presentation, then we'll work on the actual application.
Great. Thank you very
Okay?
much.
All right, thank you all.
Okay, we're going to go around the room with our department heads. We'll start in the back with, Chief, you want to come up first?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I will start off with giving the March dog control report for you. It was a slow month, according to Officer Greco. Not a lot of dogs to deal with. They had 15 complaints and 15 calls that they responded to. They issued 11 compliance notices, 3 final notices, handled 2 bite reports, and had 2 dogs that were redeemed to dog control. They are slowly anticipating as the weather breaks to be getting more activity, as seems to be traditional every year. So they're getting prepared, everything all in line, trying to get ahead of some of the paperwork stuff, making sure that notices for delinquent licenses and stuff are all up to date so that they can hit the ground running when the weather breaks. Not much on the police end. We're getting prepared once everything goes through with the county in a couple weeks for the physical fitness test to start filling some of the police positions for the academy coming this summer. Also, I've had a conversation with the supervisor. Obviously, Broadway is an apparent issue as it relates to speed enforcement and crash data. Captain Zeiders did a study, put together a package for the supervisor's office with state DOT, just to provide some data, and we're going to be looking ahead at some possible speed modifications and some other traffic control ideas to hopefully help mitigate some of the issues that have been prevalent over the past few years.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to read a little bit from the state report here. There was 100 in a particular traffic engineering investigation along US 20 between Lancaster East Village Line and Town Line Road. Was a 3-year period from 2020 to 2023. During that time period, there were 110 crashes throughout the segment. Crash types included 30 crashes, we're going to skip over that, 14 animal crashes, 12 run off the road, fixed object crashes, 6 overtaking crashes, 6 other crashes, 3 right turn crashes, 3 head-on swipe crashes. As a result of the 110 crashes, there were 3 fatalities in that short area right there, 48 injury crashes, and 59 property damage only crashes. Now, this is just the state report that runs between 2020 and 2023. I think I sent it to the board. If I didn't, I will. There's also a report, as the chief was just telling us, that Captain Zeiders did, and send that along as well, just to incorporate the numbers that Lancaster came up with, which may reflect what the state have or may not, based on how statistics are kept. Bottom line is, it's a very dangerous area for a short period of roadway there. And right now, the police officers I know are out there, that's the way I drive all the time, recommending to everybody who lives in the town of Lancaster who might be watching this, slow down, okay? Most of the people who get pulled over in the town of Lancaster are town of Lancaster residents. You got to adhere to the speed limits, but speed was one of the factors in some of these accidents. And therefore the state has agreed to lower the speed limit a couple places, but we want to get them to even lower it, even all the way out to Town Line Road if possible. That's my recommendation. The other recommendation that the chief had would be, go ahead, Chief, the light.
So since the inception of the truck route, we moved trucks off of Pavement Road, and now they're routing over to Cemetery Road. Pavement Road, Ransom Road, and Town Line Road all have access via a traffic signal at Broadway. Cemetery Road does not have a traffic signal. So now we've created a backup on Cemetery Road, and also in that area, Cemetery Road up to Bowen Road. There's a lot of new ingress and egress points with and a ton of cars entering and exiting in that area. I believe with the addition of a signal, or at least a study to see if that is a responsible move, which I believe it will be, we should be able to help mitigate some of the other safety concerns in that stretch of road solely by that alone.
Okay. And again, the 3 fatalities were only 2020 to 2023. There's been additional fatalities since then. Even our report from the police department goes through 2024. Doesn't count the latest one that occurred in that area.
1 fatality is too many.
Yeah, exactly. So again, you got a whole bunch of fatalities right in the same area, so we got to get better control of the roadway out there. Thank you, sir. Anything else?
That's all I have. Thank you.
John Pilato? Oh, sorry. John?
Good evening.
Evening.
So, the snow melted, now we're starting to get busy. For the past couple of weeks, Highway Department's been involved with several projects within the town. We completed the removal and grading of and the stonework for Westwood Playground for the Rec Department. We also spent the last few weeks assisting the Forestry Department with pruning all the roads that we have slated to pave this year. We also went in with the Rec Department and serviced several cul-de-sacs while we had the crews together. I'm happy to report that both the white collar and the blue collar unions worked extremely well together. We had one little hiccup, but we got over it. The team effort that was shown between both departments at the park and pruning, it was amazing, and it made me happy because that's what we're going for. So kudos to both departments for sure. Starting this week, I told Matt, weather permitting, of course, we're planning on going into Running Brook, clear out that big ditch that's been a problem for like 20 years, pulling off some dead ash from the banks and cleaning up the the debris that's been stuck down there. That's probably going to take us, probably about a week to do. We have addressed all the pothole concerns within the town. Recently, we were able to finally get hot patch instead of cold patch. I know that Lake and Warner was a huge concern, so we paid attention to them. Want to let the residents know we are going to be paving them this year, resurfacing both of them, and grapplers out every single day, so the residents know.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ron Rosler?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, the LVAC contract is an ongoing matter. I spoke earlier at the town department head meeting. I think we're closer than we have been in the past, and I know Jennifer's trying to set up a conference call with their attorney to go over some last-minute concerns that the town has, and then hopefully we can move forward from that. I'm sure most people have heard or seen online in that about a couple different movie crews being in town. I've been working with one of them from the Great American Family to coordinate a couple different locations that they've been at. I will say they've been extremely impressed with the town and the village, and there's a lot of talk about they're going to be doing more movies in this area and in the Buffalo area, so it could be a good thing for the town and the village for them coming back here. So it's been an interesting process.
Great. Movie capital of Western New York, all right.
They will be in town, I believe it's April 11th, I'm not exactly sure of that date. April 11th.
Closed down.
Yeah, so, and they're working on filming one last scene there, and then, so we'll see what else comes up out of that.
Great.
And then I'll stay in touch now with this battery power facility and get as much information as I can. I'll work with Matt to get a copy of that local law.
Just sent it.
So we can review. Awesome.
Great.
Any questions for me? No? Great, thank you.
Thank you. Matt, what do you have for us?
Well, as mentioned earlier today, the stormwater report was submitted for the month of March. And again, just kudos to Ed and his team there for getting our reports in on time by the DEC's timelines. With that, there's a lot of additional oversight from the state that we're responsible for, and we're going to begin having those conversations again with private facility owners. During our drainage committee meeting, there were some representatives from a problem pond that we've been dealing with since 2021. So we're going to rekindle those conversations again to help the residents identify a proper maintenance strategy for their facilities. We're working pretty close with John, and I think he had left, but on how to draft a maintenance plan for the town-owned facilities. We'll be working together too with the sagebrush. He called it a ditch, but it's actually Slate Bottom Creek. We're going to do some cleaning in Slate Bottom Creek, so we'll get them a floodplain development permit for that section of the streamway and get the residents some relief. It's been long coming, and again, tying into other factors that we deal with on a county level. That was a piece of property that we attempted to secure through super bid through our land bank, and that failed through the county tax auction. So that was one of 3 properties that the town was able to acquire and now has the responsibility of maintaining. So we're going to work together interdepartmentally to get that job done and provide that service. I do want to mention though that even last Friday it was an inquiry was made to our office regarding the special events, and I know Chief Gummo had brought that up regarding some block parties. We have our annual Christmas light event that happens regularly, very successfully. So I'd be happy to sit at the table with any committee members that are moving to that
I'm moving
end.
forward
So
on
wherever
that. I'll
that
be putting
goes,
together a meeting, yes. I'd like to mirror the Village of Lancaster's event.
There's businesses that are willing to sponsor events, walks, ride-a-thons, marathons, things of that nature. So I think this would be a great opportunity for the town, departments, and business operators to work together to build on their community. I think that's enough for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed?
First, follow up on what Matt said. We did submit the annual MS4 report that was required by April 1st. I mention it so people know it's on the website. People can review it. If they have comments, they can submit, but it's there for anyone to read and comment. Project-wise, Westwood Playground, we did the layout for Highway last week, and I believe they got the base prepared and ready to go. I think the schedule is they're going to be out there this week, starting, if I remember right. So,
What's the completion date on that?
they said a couple of weeks, so I would say with the weather depending here, they're probably late April, I would think. The Opera House windows and equipment, we obtained SHPO sign-off, finally. We have one more environmental issue to deal with. I did get permission that I can write the letter, so that'll speed things up, so we'll get that done, and we've been on our way. The turf field, we received the scope for the electrical work, so we're putting together the bid documents to get that out, to get prices for the electrical work that's required out there. Ellicott Creek FEMA project, the winter is over, so they're starting back up. The consultant right now is preparing letters that will go out on town letterhead to the residents, explaining that they'll be out there walking around their backyards in the creek bed, so that they see people to know who they are. If anybody objects, they can say something, but. Seabrook Road culvert. We're moving right along, and then last week, we got notified that DEC is sticking their nose in under the new wetland requirements. I am working diligently to schedule a meeting with DOT and DEC downtown to start. And if that doesn't go as planned, then I will seek other avenues. But my first attempt will be with them. Because of DEC, I will tell you, DEC's involvement with their new wetland regulations, not just us, anybody, is way behind. I mean, they're backlogged 6 months. So, more to come, but we're dealing with it.
All right. Yeah, if you could send the board maybe weekly updates on
Yeah.
that. It's just been forever.
Yeah.
And,
I'm just saying, right now,
Lots of
attempting
questions.
to get a meeting downtown with DEC and DOT together. And DOT, because they're the one running the program pretty much, they're basically saying, well, DEC's telling us this, so we can't do anything, so my attempt is going to be to change what DEC's telling them.
Okay.
We'll see where it goes.
thank you.
Yep.
Nick?
Could I interrupt? I'm sorry, I apologize. As I was Xing out of my document, just one public information item, really. The DEC also has a burn ban that began March 15th and May 15th. It's really important that we understand the purpose of that burn ban. I mean, these are going to be the first nice days of the season. People want to get their windows open. It's a little bit uncomfortable to have, the smoke coming into the house and dealing with that. But most importantly, this is the public safety aspect of it. So kind of refrain from the brush fires and, and the debris burns until it's a little more safe in the season to do so. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick?
Good evening. Tonight I'll be highlighting some key developments in our budget, capital projects, and operations, showcasing the progress that we've made together. Beginning with finance, we're in excellent standing. Our financial records are significantly more robust than they were a year ago. When I assumed my role in January of 2024, the town had not reconciled its bank account since June of 2023. I'm happy to report that we now reconcile the bank account within 10 business days of each month's end, ensuring accuracy through a formal month-end closing process. This diligence positions us exceptionally well for the 2024 audit and ensures the seamless filing of our annual financial report coming due April 30th. On the revenue front, we've successfully collected all of our 2025 property taxes. Thank you to Diane and her team. Totaling $26,448,000. First quarter revenues for 2025 reached $29,747,000, approximately 76% of our budgeted amount. Meanwhile, expenses for the same period stand at $9,985,000, or 23.6% of our budget, tracking favorably below the 25% benchmark that we aim for in quarter one. Turning to capital projects, we've engaged with department heads to assess their current needs and long-term priorities. From these discussions, we've identified 3 impactful initiatives for town board consideration. First, we're proposing upgrading the water line on Cemetery Road to enhance reliability. Second, we're exploring an expansion of the police training facility, improving the gun range, and adding additional training space to support our officers' readiness. And third, we're evaluating a truck wash for the highway department, which is a proactive step to protect our new plow trucks from salt corrosion, which we expect will soon become a state mandate as well in the coming years. Tomorrow, I meet with our financial advisors to refine cost estimates and tax implications, and I'll provide a detailed summary thereafter to the town board. Administratively, we've achieved a remarkable turnaround in payroll management with the transition to paychecks. Last year's first quarter payroll processing cost the town $49,000 through the previous provider. This year, that figure dropped to $22,000, which is a 55% reduction, and we saved $27,000. I'd like to extend my gratitude to our team up in the supervisor's office for their tireless efforts in resolving past issues and swiftly addressing new ones as they arise. And beyond payroll, we're hosting an employee benefits fair this Wednesday with open enrollment beginning May 1st. And I'm overseeing several critical reports that are due to state and federal agencies by the end of the month. Thank you all for your continued support.
Thank you. Diane Terranova?
We continue collecting taxes. What Nick mentioned is only half of what we collect, since we also collect for the county, and that's ongoing. I'm also a member of the Lancaster Depew Rotary Club, and one of our members has newly, I want to say come down with, but diagnosed with lung cancer. And I just heard today that there's another gentleman of a friend of an employee who has lung cancer. These are people who have lung cancer who have never smoked. And the one woman, when she first went to Roswell, the first thing that her doctor asked her was, when was the last time you tested radon in your basement? Never. I don't know if you're like me, but I've never done it either. Radon is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. So the town hall has all the forms for the radon testing. It's $12.25. It's an easy thing to send in. Now's the time to do it. If you don't do it now, you'd have to wait till the fall, because you really can't test it once we open our windows and our doors when the weather is nice. You can't see, taste, or smell radon. And after talking to Matt this morning, every house in the area has some radon. You just don't want the gas to get very high, because then it can cause dangerous things to your health. Our Rotary Club will provide the tests, the 12 and a quarter, for any Depew or Lancaster resident who cannot afford it. They fill out the application and bring it to my office here in the town clerk's office. I think it's really important to get a baseline of where this area stands. Speaking this morning, it was explained to me that maybe the northern end of the town will have a higher reading than the southern part of the town. It all has to do with the bedrock and how houses are built. So for 12 and a quarter, please find out what's happening in your home so that we can stop this lung cancer for non-smokers. Thank you.
Thank you. And like Diane said, if you can't afford to do it, Rotary Club will pay for you for the test. So no reason not to do it. We're also working with Frank Dodaro to see what's going to change in the county, see if they're interested in mandating radon testing anytime there's a change of ownership in a home, just so people getting into that home know if there's a radon problem, so they can take up the proper mitigation techniques. Okay? That is it. Oh, Emily, anything?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. All right. Our regular meeting starts at 7 o'clock. Anything the board wants to bring up right now before our regular meeting?
No, I do have a couple of committee reports.
You want to save them for the regular meeting? Because we only got a couple of minutes, so we'll do it.
Now it's, if you want, get them over and done with.
Sure. Well,
You want it?
we got 5 minutes to kill at 7:05.
Kill it? Kill
Till
it?
the public meetings can go, so.
Parks and Recreation sent out a letter saying that the Lancaster, Town of Lancaster's Arbor Day celebration will be held at Westwood Park on Saturday, April 26th. The event includes a week-long schedule of planting trees with students in the Lancaster Depew schools, our Arbor Day poster contest, Trees Are Terrific Because, and concludes with our town's Arbor Day celebration with various activities at Westwood Park. We invite you to join us at Westwood Park to celebrate the town's 25th year of receiving Tree City USA Award. And again, that is on Saturday, April 26th. And then I have a report from LVAC, their monthly report. LVAC submitted this report here, call volume overview. And I believe this is for the month of March 2025. Total calls 377. Advanced life support calls were 219, transports were 190, basic life support calls were 128 with transports of 102, cancellations 30. Response times, our average response time from notification to arrival on the scene in the town of Lancaster was 6 minutes and 54 seconds. We started training the new paramedic we hired. We will be interviewing a full-time paramedic later in the week. Our staffing levels have stayed the same as previously reported. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 5 ambulances are in service during peak hours. Weekends, Saturday and Sunday, 4 ambulances are in service during peak hours. Weeknights, 3 ambulances are in service overnight every night. As of Thursday, April 4th, the crews have been calling in and out of service for the day with dispatch. This will be an ongoing daily event, and we remain committed to providing exceptional emergency medical services to the town of Lancaster.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, I'm not going anywhere. Since we got about
I talked too fast.
45 seconds.
Trying to bang through it. I talked too fast.
Arbor Day.
You have to talk about
Yes.
it in the committee real
It's a
quick.
disclosure.
Thanks, Nick. No, we don't need it for anything. No, they said they didn't need it for the 5 minutes. For what? Oh, I don't know. Is there anything that's going to be on there?
I don't know.
We'll find out. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the regular town board meeting of the town of Lancaster for April 7th, 2025. Diane, roll call, please.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Here.
Councilmember Dickman? Councilmember Schroeder?
Here.
Councilmember Studley? Here. Supervisor Leary?
Here. Tonight I got the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. Please stand. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. Last week I had the opportunity to attend the grand opening of the Western New York Compassion Connection, all located right here in Lancaster. Compassion Connection is a center for grieving children and families, which will be providing unprecedented grief support to the region's bereaved. It is a vital service with a very difficult task, and I thank and applaud them for their dedication, professionalism, leadership to help others to cope with the loss of a loved one. So tonight I just want to open with a prayer. Came from online, a place called Christian Pure. Heavenly Father, in this moment of heartache and loss, we turn to you, seeking the light of your love to guide us through the shadow of death. We hold on to you, promise, Lord, that this separation is but temporary and that a reunion awaits us beyond the veil of this world. Grant us the hope that springs eternal from your word, the assurance that our loved ones are now in your loving embrace, experiencing the joy and peace that surpass all understanding. Help us to envision the heavenly realms where there's no more pain or sorrow, only the blissful communion with you. May this hope be the salve that heals our broken hearts, strength that lifts us from depths of despair. Comfort us with the knowledge that in your kingdom we will once again embrace those who have gone ahead, basking in your eternal glory together. Amen. Thank you. Okay, this evening we're going to have 23 pre-filed resolutions one suspended resolution, 4 public hearings, and then we're going to have 2 topics of discussions for executive session. 2 topics of discussion are contracts and personnel. Public hearings will be for a special use permit, 6125 Genesee Street, and we have Chapter 400 zoning. Number 2, another rezoning parcels, and amending Section 258, Article 1 and 2 as it relates to fees in the zoning area. Tonight, we close in memory of Louis DiRienzo Jr. He was a member in charge of bingo at the Elks, and Nicole Detman. Okay. We have a couple minutes before we're going to begin our public hearings. I don't want to have anybody up here. We just have 2 minutes. So basically, we're going to skip around here a little bit. Do any of the town board members have any other official reports or committee reports at this point? Anything? No? Okay. All right. I'm just going to talk a minute about the Compassion Connection. Great facility. They had the thing set up in record time over there on Walden Avenue. It's great to have it right here in the town of Lancaster. As I mentioned, they're going to provide, it's a center for grieving children and families. It's set up for kids to come in there and have somebody to talk about a major loss in their life, a loss of a loved one or friend. Really respect the people who are doing this, totally professional. And basically, so we'll have somewhere to go. The children will have somewhere to go to talk to somebody about something like that, a loss in their lives. I'm going to try to get some people in here from the Compassion Connection for our next town board meeting so they can do a presentation, and we'll be presenting a proclamation to them, welcoming them to the town of Lancaster. Okay. Anything else? Okay. All right. So we only got a few seconds here. I can't read this stuff till 7:05. I got 7:04:30. And we're going to jump right into the public hearings. At the public hearings at 7:05. After that, what we're going to do is we'll allow people to address the town board on any pre-filed or suspended resolutions. We do have one suspended resolution. Sorry, I think I skipped that. Yeah, we have 23 pre-filed and one suspended resolution this evening. And at that point, you'll have an opportunity to address the town board on any of those pre-filed resolutions or the one suspended resolution. Okay, I got 7:05. Okay, can I have a motion to open the public hearings?
Motion.
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. Public hearing number 1. Notice to a public hearing on applications for special use permit approval to operate a soil recycling facility located at 6125 Genesee Street, SBL number 95.00-1-1 in Lancaster, New York. Legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to the authority set forth in Chapter 400 zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 400-78, Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster on the 17th day of March 2025, the Town Board will hold a public hearing on the 7th day of April, tonight, 7:05 p.m., local time, here at Town Hall, for the purposes of considering and possibly approving a special use permit application to operate a soil recycling facility located at 6125 Genesee Street. Copies of the proposed applications can be reviewed at Town Hall. This is a full opportunity to be heard, will be given to all citizens and any parties in interest. We obviously have somebody here who wants to talk about this project. Do you guys need any of this stuff here? You need the TVs? You got flash drives or anything?
We'll be okay to start, and we'll see what the board or public has to say and go from there.
Okay, if you give us your name.
Sure.
Okay, that's going to be an extra cost.
Put it on the tab. All right. My name is Ari Goldberg from the law firm of Barclay Damon. I am the attorney for the applicant. We were last before the town board at its February 18th workshop where we presented this project to you. It was familiar to then, it should be familiar to now. There's no actual site plan revisions or changes to the site as a result of what's before you. This project was previously approved by the town board in 2022, and then there were changes made in the field during the construction, and now we're here to align the approved site plan and special use permit with what's built on the property. Since we were here February 18th, we made 2 appearances before the planning board, the first on March 5 and the second last week. At that second hearing, they did recommend approval of the site plan as well as issuance of a negative declaration pursuant to SECRA, and they found it was appropriate to make those recommendations because during our first meeting and up to our second one with the planning board, we worked with Matt and Ed in their respective offices, as well as Emily and hers, to make sure that county referral was made. Seeker was solicited to all the involved or interested agencies. We've responded to those. We've also responded to comments from Matt and Ed in their offices. So I think we've put the project in good shape. We've discussed the floodplain issue at length. If there's any more details, I can turn it over to Kathleen Rogers from the applicant to give those details. But with that, we're looking for comments from the board and public. Thank you.
Any questions from the board at this point? Just to inform the rest of the audience and the public who might be watching this, if you could just give us a few more details of what's involved here. Okay, since you're here.
So as Ari mentioned, the project was previously approved in 2022, and it was an operational soil recycling facility. What the facility does is take in soils that contain small amounts of construction debris, things like that, recycle them to be used appropriately for construction projects and various kinds of fill. The state of New York has recently changed their fill type definitions, and so when that happened, we were obligated to reapply with the state. At that time, we were also renewing our existing special use permit, which is when it was discovered that what was done in the field was slightly different than the approved plan. As Ari mentioned, we've gone through the process to align those two with the town, and we're also working with the state to renew our permits there. There is important to note there's no new construction proposed, no new excavation proposed. Our client is just looking to continue their operation. It's been successful thus far, and it's a good way to repurpose and recycle materials that would otherwise end up in the landfill. So hopefully it's a positive facility for the town, and it's being run responsibly. So we're looking to continue that.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, as far as public hearing number 1, does anybody else in the audience want to be heard on this particular topic? Please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so we're going to have a motion to close public hearing number 1.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
on the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to open up public hearing number 2. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
on the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, public hearing number 2.
We'll get it together.
What's that?
Who's first, seconding? You know.
Legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster adopted on March 17, 2025, a public hearing will be held on the 7th day of April, 2025, today, 7:05 p.m., here at Town Hall, to hear all interested persons regarding local law number 1, Chapter 400 zoning. The purpose of the hearing is to provide an opportunity for citizens to express their sentiments, concerns, or views which would benefit citizens of the Town of Lancaster. All citizens who wish to be heard are urged to attend this public hearing. Copies of the proposed local law number 1 of the year 2025 entitled Chapter 400 Zoning will be available at the Town of Lancaster Clerk's Office for inspection and distribution to any interested persons during business hours. The meeting room is wheelchair accessible, and okay, so we're all set there. Do we have anyone who wants to be heard on public hearing number 2? Please raise your hand. Do you want to be heard on this one?
You explain what public hearing number 2 is. I know it's rezoning, but is that?
This is not the reason.
Yeah, it's part of it. Yeah, basically, we've had a moratorium in place to take a look at all the zoning throughout the town of Lancaster. And based on that look that we've been doing now for over 12 months, we've decided we are going to rezone different areas. Well, Again, we want public input first. What we're looking at, possibly rezoning different areas of the town. Some of the stuff has to do with multi-use, multi-family areas that are being changed to just multi-use or just multi-family type use. So we're looking at all the different possibilities. This particular public hearing deals with, it's going to be local law number 1, chapter 400 area of zoning. So that's what we're looking at. Do you want to be heard? Okay, are you done, ma'am? Do you want to come up and say anything else? If you don't mind, we'll get your name and address.
Sure.
Okay. If you don't, can you come up here to the podium?
I'm sorry, I thought you were pointing at somebody else.
No, I was talking to you.
There is a gentleman.
Yeah, who can go next?
I really just had a question in regards to what this means to residents. I know it says that your taxes are not going to be impacted by this, but I don't think it gives us enough information why they're rezoning our particular area, and I want to know how that will impact us with our rights to what the rezoning means to our area and our neighborhood. So that's what I want an explanation to, and why some residents in the area received a letter and some didn't.
Sure. The residents who received the letter are in an area that we're looking at, obviously, rezoning. It really shouldn't have any impact on your taxes. What we're trying to do is protect areas that are, let's say, residential or multifamily versus areas that are mostly used for other purposes. So again, we're changing things around. We had some issues where a multifamily, multi-use turned into a giant apartment complex. Okay, that wasn't what was really intended with it, but there were caveats in there that allowed it to happen. So we're trying to crack down on stuff like that. And do you have anything else you want to add in there?
I'll just add it, so it was multifamily mixed use was the zoning classification before, so now we're separating it to the multifamily or mixed use, so we're sparsing out the two different zoning classifications. Before it was one combined zoning classification, so it allowed for more in the area.
So we don't want a bunch of, stuff coming in there like giant apartment complexes, which is going to influence particular areas. So we're trying to protect those areas and other areas that are multi-use. There's already places in there usually being used at this time for commercial type things.
Right. So I guess
separate the two.
my concern is there is already apartment complex going up in that area from what I understand. So I guess I'm not understanding how you're protecting the residents in that area that are, single-family homes when you've already approved a complex in that area. So
What particular area are we talking about?
right on Broadway and Gale? Transit, sorry, Transit, I meant.
Okay.
Broadway and Transit? Broadway and Transit.
I'm not, Broadway and Transit? What are we?
Transit and,
Oh, Transit.
so that's already approved, so how is that protecting me by doing this rezoning?
Well, so this is to change the local law, so going forward, if these do go into effect, then any future applications would fall under the new laws.
So that explanation is not really valid for me, knowing that that was already approved and now it's...
Currently going up there, something you're concerned with, so that would fall under the current zoning, so that's what we're trying to change with new zoning.
Okay, and so what I would want too is, I know that there's some property that has been acquired in our area, and I know it has nothing to do with zoning, but based on that complex being built at the corner of Transit there in our street, I really want to know what the new plan is, because I haven't received any updates on that since the original 2018 notice. And from what I understand, this is a renewal after a renewal after renewal for construction, and there's been construction debris at the corner for many, many years, and we are taxpayers, and we shouldn't have to look at that every single day.
Okay, Matt, any comment on that? The stuff at if I could back up for 1 second. A lot of stuff that started before, we're trying to avoid this happening in the future. That's why we're trying to get these things changed. There have been things that were done that, we're trying to make sure it isn't done again. Matt, you can comment on that, and then if you want to talk to our attorney, you can have like a one-on-one conversation with the attorney, either Emily tonight or Jennifer, and we can find out what's going on with that particular area.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
great.
All right.
Thank you.
Matt?
Oh, hold on.
Hang on 1 second, ma'am. I don't think we ever got your full name and address.
Bagusha Thornton, 35 Giele. Yep.
Thank you.
Great. Matt?
Well, some history on the project. This is Theo's Place Apartments. It was approved in 2018. It's currently at a sunset in that, the permits were issued, construction never really began. Private improvement permits, I believe, have been requested a refund for the inspection costs, and it may be reintroduced as a new site plan project, which would then have to fall under the newly adopted zoning standards, should they pass as presented.
Okay. So if it passes, they got to come back again and try to get in there, and then we can have some potential new controls on it.
So will this new rezoning protect us from that going up?
The purpose of the separation of the zoning district is to identify areas where we can introduce multifamily housing, as well as identify areas where we can have mixed-use projects that incorporate both commercial and residential occupancies. So in situations like you would see here downtown and other parts of our town, where you have those mixed-use facilities, storefronts on the first floor, apartments on a second floor, perhaps on a third floor. The multifamily specifically for those multifamily projects. And in this case, my understanding is that that property is to be rezoned as a mixed-use district, which requires a certain percentage of the buildings to have a commercial occupancy and not fully residential.
Okay.
So that won't protect us?
It
depends what they're going to do.
The apartment complex is going to be a difficult permitted use there, but it will not prevent a commercial storefront with attached dwelling units as a part of the building.
The one that was supposed to be Theo's Place, the one that was supposed to build the apartments on Guy Island Transit, it's named now, it's the one that was,
Ma'am, I hate to do this to you, but can you give us your name and address, so just for the records, and come up to the podium? Because there are people who watch on TV who can't make it to the meetings. It's live streamed, so they can hear what you're saying.
okay. My name is Dolores Grazak. I live on 11 Guile Avenue in Depew. Okay, and the apartments that were originally supposed to be built on our street were supposed to be called Theo's Place, but now the apartments that are being built on Transit near French, where the old forestry restaurant was, those are called Theo's Place. Because there's the name right there. So what is the...
If I could straighten that out as well, that's a violation of our sign code. The same developer is using that space as advertisement as contact information for the Theo's Place project. The project on the south end of town is an approved mixed-use building with a separate bank structure. This board is very familiar with that project. It's gone through several months of review and variance and what have you to get it to where it is today.
So the sign that's out there right now should not be there?
The sign that's on the south end of town is in violation of our sign code. That's correct.
Okay, have they been cited?
The complaint has been opened, and we're in process of issuing notices and for its removal.
Yeah, because it was confusing, because I knew originally it was supposed to be the one on our street.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, they shouldn't have the sign out there. They've been cited, and we will be following up on it.
Could they be cited for the trash that they got in front of my
Well,
house?
that again is, yeah.
And the grass and the pond and a lot of all the other things that are there.
So how many citations have they had?
Several.
Okay.
It's been like
Unfortunately,
2
there's a
years.
process involved in this,
I've
so they've been
complained
cited
so
and they have
many
to.
times. I've
Yeah.
gone to the town builder and they said they'd come out and look at it, and it's still there 3 years later. And it's right in front of my house.
But we don't want anything 3 years later. Can we get it, again, it's been cited, what else can we do at this point?
I could provide a full report for this board and a method of action moving forward.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Appreciate it. Sir, I believe you had your hand up right there in the blue shirt. How you doing? We could get your name and full address?
My name is Mike Harmon. I'm the owner of Harmon Homes Realty, and I'm the property manager for 9 homeowners associations in the town of Lancaster. I represent the Town Square condominiums down on Broadway, the Plum Creek condominiums on Broadway, the Forest Stream Association, the Brookside Village Association, Juniper Landing, Juniper Townhomes, Courtyard at Pleasant Meadows, and Summer Wind Homeowners Association, and Summerfield Farms Association. So there's 9 different communities that I'm here trying to, and representing, trying to figure out exactly what the upside of this multi-family change is going to be for the, what benefit will it be for the homeowners associations? You had mentioned that it would stop large apartment complexes from coming in, is one of the things you just mentioned. But I'm reading here, and it says that this change in the use will actually allow more units in higher densities where public sewers are available. So does that mean you're going to allow more units in smaller parcels throughout the community?
Emily, you want to jump in here on this one?
In some areas, it would allow for more units in
Okay.
the
In
parcels.
the multifamily.
Okay, so what is the upside of this? I see that it says here, again, okay, you want to create more development with higher densities. In other words, bring in more apartment complexes, encourage development that exhibits physical design characteristics of pedestrian-oriented and other uses that support neighborhood character, promote health and well-being. Well, a lot of eyewash in there. Don't know what it actually means, other than you're just allowing more units in smaller parcels. Is that the bottom line of this?
So certain areas have been deemed to be better for a community aspect to have, more walkability and different things
like-
available right in the community. for them.
Right, bus
so-
routes and that type of thing in certain areas.
So we're currently zoned on all these community associations, multifamily, multi-use, and we're going to go to a multifamily residential. So what is the actual difference there? Can anybody tell me that?
Sure, the multifamily is going to be, it's going to be for family units to be in there and less commercial building in that particular area.
No, is
Yep.
that-
The multifamily and multi-use would have allowed some commercial development. Under the multifamily, there is no commercial development.
Okay,
Right.
And the project you represent, townhouses and patio homes, by definition, they're smaller density. So-
Right,
So
but-
part of the rezoning was not only looking at vacant land and how to rezone it, but also how do we redefine existing projects so it meets our zoning. And so those types of projects that are denser by nature it was either multifamily or multi-use.
so does
mixed use.
it allow for, so you're changing our zoning, does it allow then for 2 families in our areas that are changed to multi-use?
Multifamily.
It's going from changing to multifamily or multi-use. So we're going to multifamily residential.
You're going to multifamily
Right.
residential.
Right. Does it change that characteristic where more things are allowed to be built in those areas that might be controversial?
No, under the current zoning of multifamily, multi-use, the residential piece of that isn't changing. We're taking away the commercial piece of it from the multifamily.
What areas in town are you specifically talking about that you want to create more areas for larger density building? I mean, that this
Well,
this goes into effect.
based on the comprehensive plan that was done in 2018, the idea was, as we talked about, walkable communities, and it was to get denser population closer to the village, so that it's more
I think the
walkable.
only, walkable would be closer to the village.
Yes.
Has this already been passed? Is this something that is already done?
No, this is the
but,
public hearing.
Okay, I just wanted to
Be
just
heard on.
clarify that. That's what I assumed, but I just wanted to clarify it. Okay, I'm just trying to see what the upside would be for the several hundred unit owners in these condominiums and
Right,
townhomes that I
it was either
represent.
mixed use or multifamily.
Pardon me?
And it was either mixed use or multifamily. And under the mixed use, there would have been commercial development allowed.
Okay, and which is allowed now?
Under the MFMU, yes.
Okay, so,
But if
All
it
right.
changes, that won't be allowed. So it'll be multifamily.
okay. I just didn't see the real need to do this change. I don't see it.
Because we're changing the definitions of the zoning, we had to take those properties that were MFMU, and that designation is going away. So it has to be one or the other.
Okay. All right, well, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to be heard on public hearing number 2? Ma'am, green jacket?
My name is Jean Killian. I live on Walden Avenue
Okay.
in Lancaster.
And could you spell your last name, please?
Killian.
Thank you.
And this is my sister-in-law, Colleen Killian. And right now, the house that we live in is single-family. We are being rezoned to mixed use, which means if we were to sell, somebody could put up a business right in the middle of residential houses,
Where exactly are you?
Walden and Stony. And right now before Stony Road, there's a UCP home, a house, a couple of duplexes, and some more houses. Why would my property be now deemed mixed use?
You familiar with that particular one?
I would note that we're at the property next to her, and we're agricultural. So we're not looking to have a retail store placed next to our property.
Matt, do you have anything on your computer that we can put on the screen about the differences between the mixed use?
I could put up the current zoning map.
Yeah, the zoning map.
I can make these back the way they were.
That way we can look up and see where she's located and where everything is.
All areas proposed as a mixed use. Which we want to be in a commercial road, that's why.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right.
You're welcome.
But I brought my map with me, but I didn't.
No, mixed use, in the new definition. That's it.
You can do it.
Just takes a minute with,
It's currently not responding.
yes.
Coming.
Yep.
Maybe I'm saying the law is big enough to get multi.
So you're at Walden and Summit?
Walden and Stony.
I'm sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, we're a single-family house with about an acre of land. And the thought of it being turned mixed use is ludicrous.
As it currently sits, that stretch of Walden Avenue on the north side was previously zoned residential commercial office space, and in 2020 was rezoned to be a multifamily mixed-use district with a access management overlay.
Okay, so as it's currently zoned, it could be mixed use. As it's currently zoned.
So right now, it's been generationally families. I understand that there are some areas that are commercial, but what the proposal is, as I understand it, is you're looking at taking it from multifamily, multi-use to mixed use. And that could involve retail or office space or things like that. Is that correct?
With residential.
With residential. So in theory, if one of our neighbors sold, it could ultimately end up being retail, is what you're saying,
With residential.
with residential, meaning it would have to have one apartment upstairs, in theory.
Yeah, I'd have to read how the law, how the actual law is written.
So you would turn my house into an apartment and a storefront if we sold that house?
We would,
Stay what it is.
Whoever bought
can
it
stay a single family.
would have the
Right.
option.
Oh, but if it's mixed use,
It could happen, is what you're asking.
Oh, so if a new owner went in there,
Yes.
sure. But there's nothing precluding it from staying as it is.
so if we were to sell at some point, we could still sell to somebody who would keep it a house,
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes.
but they would have the option to turn it into,
Sure.
because of the way it's zoned.
Right, yeah.
So even though there's
And even,
houses.
and even, they could still come and ask for a zoning change if they wanted to make that change. I mean, that's.
They'd have to get a variance. I don't
They'd
know.
have to get a zoning change.
Rezone. Yeah.
Yeah, they have to rezone it.
And does that, if we choose to stay?
Yeah, nobody's going to throw you out of your house.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not.
No, I'm
that's
just
not gonna
saying,
happen.
does this have any effect on if we were to remodel or change the structure of the house?
No.
No.
My house specifically, I own AdWorks up the street, and AdWorks is on the first floor, and we live on the top 2 floors. I was originally, when I moved here 25 years ago, it was residential. Now it's mixed use. My taxes haven't changed. We've certainly made improvements to the place, and my tax base hasn't changed at all.
No, I'm just looking to make sure that with them being next door, if we were to sell, nobody's tearing down the house to put up a bar or any number of these options that are on these sheets.
So the short of it is, she's opposing it going exclusively to mixed use, and should the board consider an area over there, preferably family.
Okay, we will take note of that. Emily is keeping track of, objections in certain areas, and is going to discuss it with our other town attorney, and so we'll make note of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is anybody else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. Tim Boyle from Newman Properties, here to talk about 3630 Walden Avenue. We currently own 4 pieces, Walden, Central. We own these 2 pieces that are zoned general commercial. And last year, we bought 2 pieces right next to it, being the accounting office and a vacant lot behind it. The accounting office is currently zoned multifamily, multi-use. It's going to multi-use. And I just wanted to use this as an opportunity to maybe discuss it going, and as opposed to multi-use. I'd like to get these 2 pieces, I'd like them all zoned the same if that's possible, the general commercial.
Okay, we'll take a look at it. You got the notes on this one as well?
It's the 2 properties.
Yeah, so
The
it
east
would
of the
be,
intersection, or
technically, it would be
3?
3630, that's the property that we got the notice for. It's going from multifamily, multi-use to multi-use.
Mhm.
And then there's a lot in the back that we've cleared.
Okay.
That is technically still zoned residential. So now on the assemblage that we have there, I have 3 different zonings. The predominant one, the 1 acre, is the corner, which is zoned general commercial. And I'd like, we're requesting that you consider having it all zoned the same.
Are you using them all together, or using them as separate entities?
They're, these 2 are vacant right now.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And, well, 3 of the 4 are vacant.
You intend to sell?
No, we intend to develop it.
Okay, and you wanted to develop it in a commercial sense?
Correct.
Okay, would this be combining parcels?
Yes.
That would be the best avenue, is to combine the parcels and create one parcel.
That's what we're proposing. That's what I would ask you to please consider, just to sort of streamline it so I don't have,
I did that, I combined parcels.
so I don't have an assemblage with 3 different zonings that it's just gonna, as long as this process is under, way, we thought that would be the cleanest way to go forward. Thank you very much for your time.
Anybody else? Sir?
John Killian, I'm next to my sister Jean. So in a previous session, was there talk of a Dollar General coming to Walden Avenue near Stony Brook?
Yes.
Okay, because that is that's the epitome of what we would not like to see.
Okay.
Because it's,
We're going to do the Dollar General. Anybody wants to talk about Dollar General before we do the pre-filed resolutions on here? So there'll be another time to talk about that, but, go ahead and finish about the zoning part of it.
what resolution is Dollar General?
13, I think.
Bob, what I think he was trying to say is
He's relating it to the
relating
changes that we're
it
seeing.
to changing the
Oh, okay.
zoning
Yes,
where
'cause
they
you
are.
have to
Okay, I'm sorry.
change the zoning.
With the Dollar General.
But, so it kind of sounded to me like you had to have commercial and residential together. Therefore, Dollar General wouldn't be able to be built because nobody lives above Dollar Generals. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
So you'd have to have even a third zoning for a Dollar General in that?
Well, again, this is not what it is right now. This is what we're proposing to do down the road. So again, yeah, would it affect the current project? No. It would affect future projects.
All right, what number did you say again?
It's 15.
15?
15,
Okay.
yep. So you get a chance to come up and talk before the pre-filed resolutions on Dollar General. Okay, anybody else for the zoning part of this? Yes, ma'am?
I'm actually in the same neighborhood as Kyle. I'm
Uh-huh.
on Monroe, and we are residential, and we have businesses all around. So I'm just wondering, on Kyle, they asked, that means that you can extend it further down? So I understand we have the oil change, then we have AC Associates,
Okay.
and then if you go to Guile, which would be the next street, you're going to take it further down, so we're basically being surrounded by possible commercial use property?
Yeah, can you point to that on the
Yeah, I'm getting.
All right.
map up there?
It's further down.
I have to drive.
We're at Como Park, we're Guile,
Yeah.
we're Monroe, and then Guile is right after us.
Okay.
There you are.
So I'm just wondering, because then you have this here, and then it would go further back, is what they're proposing, because if it's, as far as our property, as far as their property, you're allowing them to, yeah, we're up in the corner, it's over by the school.
You gotta be right there.
Yeah, we're over in here, they're changing all of it. So we already have the oil change, which has the car wash, which people do at 3 o'clock in the morning, so we hear that. Then we have AC Associates, no big deal, they're there Monday through Friday. But then if you have something else, and it's gonna go further down the street, we're gonna have on this side and that side
Okay,
of
what's it
commercial.
zoned right now?
The property in question is the Basil Automotive
Yeah.
warehouse, right at the northeast corner of Como Park and Transit Road.
Transit.
Oh, okay.
It's currently a general commercial zoning district, so these are permitted uses. I'm not aware of any car washing happening at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
It's not how that building was permitted, nor
Because
was
they
it
have the-
recently renovated for operation specifically for car washing of vehicles being repaired and/or inspected and/or oil changed.
Yeah.
Special use permit would be required for car washes, and the current zoning of the existing properties north of there is all multifamily mixed use, which is that entire quadrant just south of the Depew School property and west.
Could you contact Mr. Fischione if they're doing
I'd like
this
to
stuff
have that
at 3
discussion
o'clock in the
about
morning?
3 o'clock in the morning
Yeah,
washings, because
for a
I don't-
while, they were working on it, so we didn't have anything, but during the winter, it's not as bad, but during the summer, all night,
Yes.
it's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and that blower is loud, so, yes, I will contact you, for
Please.
sure.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right,
Can I
thank you.
have your name,
Oh, okay, June, Jack Lazick, JAKIELASZEK.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we're going to make a motion, or can I have a motion to close public hearing number 2?
So moved.
A second
Second.
on the question.
All in
I'm sorry,
favor?
on the roll.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, can I have a motion to open up public hearing number 3?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
on the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, this is another local law number 2, rezoning parcels in the town of Lancaster, similar to the one that we just had there, but local law number 2. Legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster adopted on March 17th, 2025. Public hearing will be held on the 7th day of April, today, 2025, here to hear all interested parties regarding local law number 2, a local law rezoning parcels in the town of Lancaster. The purpose of the hearing is to provide an opportunity for citizens to express their sentiments, concerns, or views which would benefit citizens of the town of Lancaster. All citizens who wish to be heard are urged to attend this public hearing. Copies of the proposed local law number 2 of the year 2025 entitled Local Law Rezoning Parcels in the Town of Lancaster will be available at the Town of Lancaster Clerk's Office for inspection and distribution to any interested persons during business hours. So it's kind of the same thing as the other one that we just had. Does anybody here want to be heard on the local law number 2? Anybody we missed? I'm sorry, local law number 2. Okay, anybody else for the zoning changes? Okay, seeing no hands raised, can I have a motion to close public hearing number 3?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
On the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, can I have a motion to open up public hearing number 4?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
And on the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, public hearing number 4. Legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster adopted on March 17, 2025, a public hearing will be held on the 7th day of April, 2025 at 7:05 p.m. here at Town Hall to hear all interested persons regarding local law number 3, a local law amending section 258, Articles 1 and 2 as it relates to the setting of fees. The purpose of the hearing is to provide an opportunity for citizens to express their sentiments, concerns, or views which would benefit citizens of the Town of Lancaster. All citizens who wish to be heard are urged to attend this public hearing. Copies of the proposed local law number 3 of the year 2025 entitled A Local Law Amending Section 258, Article 1 and 2 as it relates to the setting of fees will be available at the Town of Lancaster Clerk's Office for inspection and distribution to any interested person during business hours. Do we have anyone who wants to be heard on this particular public hearing? Okay. Do you want to explain exactly what we're talking about here?
I'm the best person to explain this. So the fee schedule is going to change. So for different applications with the building department, the fees will change, I believe, and what other fees are involved in this one, honestly.
Matt, further explanation?
We adopted this about a year ago, a schedule of fees that would allow this board to make changes to building permit fees, site plan review, rezoning, variance requests, pretty much the entire fee schedule of the town. It allows this board to adopt the schedule by resolution as opposed to going through the process of a code change, which is very lengthy and very expensive to follow through. So there was some verbiage that was corrected in the original law, as well as maybe one fee change, if I can remember correctly. But it's really cleaning the verbiage of the local law that allows this board to adopt the schedule by resolution annually.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody want to be heard on this particular public hearing, this particular topic? Okay, this is the process that we go through, folks, for any zoning change. Everybody has an opportunity to be heard, so that's what we're doing right now. Since I don't see any hands on this particular change here, can I have a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion to close.
Second?
Second.
And on the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, so that concludes the public hearings for tonight. At this point in time, we're going to allow any persons who want to address the town board on any pre-filed or suspended resolutions only. The town board will hear the concerns of persons desiring to address the town board on any pre-filed or proposed suspended resolutions for a total period of 30 minutes. Please raise your hand, be recognized by the supervisor, give your name and address to the town clerk, speak directly to the town board members, not the audience, using the microphone provided right up here in front. Speak once for 5 minutes or less unless the town board grants a speaker an extension of this time limit, and any unruly, including yelling or name calling, will result in expulsion from the meeting. Okay, is there anybody here who wants to talk to about any of the pre-filed resolutions? Please raise your hand. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Good evening. Mark Romanowski. I'm the attorney for the Broadway Group. I'm also the attorney for the Simonelli family and Simonelli Development. I'm here this evening just expressing disappointment on behalf of both clients with respect to the proposed positive declaration related to the Dollar General store. We've been in front of the planning board now for 6 months, working through various concerns related to the project and mitigating many of those concerns. Whether the board is aware of this or not, the site is properly zoned for it, has always been intended to be used for commercial purposes, and the use is perfectly appropriate under the zoning code. A seeker positive declaration is really a measure that's extreme. It involves a significant cost and a 6-month delay beyond the 6 months that we're already going through here. We don't think there's a legal basis for that, and my clients have asked me to review whether they have any options to pursue anything against the town related to that. It also has a chilling effect on the future development potential for that site. When a site in a project like this, which is completely consistent with the existing zoning, is found to be something that's less than desirable by the town, this sends a chilling effect in the development community about the possibility of redevelopment of that parcel in the future for other commercial purposes. So whether this is specifically to target the Dollar General or whether this is intended to target commercial development on that site in its entirety, either way it has a long-term chilling effect on the redevelopment of that site. I'll also note that this town board in its recent rezoning map did rezone this to a commercial use. So the town board recognizes that development on Walden Avenue around other commercial development should be used for commercial purposes. So for that reason, we think the town board should reconsider its position to issue a positive declaration. I know the applicant, the Broadway Group, is happy to meet with the town board, work through any concerns that they may have, and address those concerns in a more cooperative fashion. For that, we open that up to the board for that option. I thank you for your time this evening.
Okay, thank you for your opinion. Anybody else who wants to be heard on any pre-filed resolution? Yes, sir, come on up.
Kevin Leemaster, 720 Schwartz. Could you tell me what the suspended resolution is?
The suspended resolution, it is submitted an application for White Maple Dental for the interior and exterior renovations of a former community residence to a dental office on 1.8612 acre parcel located at 460 Ransom Road.
Okay, thank you. And on the last gentleman's comments, I know the lot that he's speaking of, and I know zoning, the town boards in the past have zoned, rezoned, and rezoned. I'm very familiar with it. I'm also a truck driver for 44 years. That lot is not going to be able to take a tractor trailer. I don't care how good of a driver you are, you're going to get it in there, but it's going to be hanging out in the road. I can give you more details if anybody on this board wants to know about it, but you do not try to make a truck back in off of a high-density road like Walden Avenue. You already made the mistake on Broadway with the other Dollar General. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to be heard on? Yes, sir, in the middle with your hand up.
Good evening. I'm John Simonelli, the president of Simonelli Properties, 350 SJ, Williamsville, New York. A little bit of history on this property. My father bought this property back in the 70s. If you guys remember, the stadium was supposed to be there. He purchased this property, developed it into residential lots, and there's always been 2 commercial lots out on the frontage of Walden Avenue. One of them we sold years ago and is in a commercial use. We've been paying taxes on this property as a commercial zoning. Now we have a nationally recognized retailer that wants this project, has got 6 months into this thing for all of the development, the designs, and met with the planning board, and now I'm being told that they're going to possibly issue a positive declaration on this. It's a 1.25 acre site. That's going to have some major environmental impact. This is an as-of-right use to that zoning. What are we doing here, and why are we thinking of issuing a pos deck on this project? I'd really like to know that.
Yeah, you're entitled to your opinion here. I've been to all the meetings. It's getting a pos deck because it deserves a pos deck. There's major problems with the plan that's in place out there. So it's going with a pos deck at this point.
Are they to be rectified through a pos deck or through meetings with the planning board?
You guys are going to have an opportunity to come back here and be heard again on May 5th if this resolution passes, to present your project and what's going to be fixed and how it's going to be fixed.
Well, I question why we're doing this, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Can't see who it is in the back with your hand up? Yes, sir.
My name is Don Harvard, 14 Quail Run, in the Quail Run subdivision, or 14 Hunters Drive. I bought a lot off of Simonelli 25 years ago, 30 years ago. And those two lots up front were, well, one was zoned commercial, the other wasn't. We put the rock in there in 2017, 2018, and we didn't oppose, we as residents didn't oppose the rock. We opposed what they originally planned, which was a ice cream parlor on one lot and then the rock on the other. And the intent was to sell the ice cream off in order to fund the other. So we opposed it, the town board listened to us, and it became one lot. It's a nice building. Nobody is saying anything about that lot being zoned commercial. What we're really upset about is putting a 10,640 square foot building on a 1.2 acre lot. They're looking for 5 variances, which is ridiculous. The building doesn't fit. They want to knock it down. It's supposed to have 106 parking spots. They want to knock it down to 35. When Dollar General reassessed in a couple of years, and that building is not making the profits they think it's going to be, it's going to go up for sale. And what are we going to have? We're going to have a glorified pole barn up for sale that anybody can move into, the way it's zoned. A gym can move in. And you've seen gyms. They have more than 35 customers. Where are they going to park? They're going to park on Quail Run. So to Mr. Simonelli, you did a great subdivision. We live there, and we protest this Dollar General, the size of it, going in. You're putting a size 7 foot in a size 5 shoe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody else want to be heard on this?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Peter and Christina Semino, 2 Quail Run Lane. We've been up here before. You guys have all met us before. We've been here 22 years, and we speak not only for ourselves, but the 200 neighbors in that subdivision who signed petitions, wrote letters, and stood together in this opposition for this proposed Dollar General in our neighborhood. We have been in front of you before, and this is not just about one building. This is about preserving the integrity, the safety, and quality of life in our community. And we're here tonight to make sure that one thing is absolutely clear. We do not want a Dollar General in our neighborhood, and we shouldn't be forced to accept one against our will. By turning this project down, you are honoring the voices of the community. Our neighborhood proudly hosts Stony Brook Shines, that you all know how well, that showcases Lancaster as a place to live, giving $154,000 to punt. The year before, $121,000 to our Lancaster Boys and Girls Club. What has Dollar General donated to us? Nothing. This neighborhood, which works hard during the holidays, doesn't want a Dollar General. They bring, the Dollar General wants, I think, 6 variances, it may be 5, but at least 5 variances. They hurt our property values, it's well known, increase crime and safety issues, more trucks, more traffic, more pollution. This doesn't fit our neighborhood. Even their own financial reports show they're in trouble. This just isn't about NIMBY, okay? It's not in our backyard. This is about doing what's right for Lancaster. This is a defining moment for our town. Do we let an outside corporation rewrite our zoning laws, pressure our leaders, and ignore our voices? Or do we stand together, residents and town officials, and say no to a project that does not belong here? We are not anti-business, we are pro-community. We are not NIMBYs, we are neighbors who care, and we are asking you to keep fighting with us to protect what we love about Lancaster. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody else want to be heard on the pre-filed resolutions? Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing no further hands raised at this point, we are going to move on to our pre-filed resolutions. Okay, as soon as I put mine back in order here. Okay, pre-filed resolution number 1, be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the town board held March 17th, 2025 be and are hereby affirmed. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Oliveri?
Yes. Resolution number 2, Be it resolved that the following audited claims be and are hereby ordered paid from their respective accounts as per abstract to be filed in the office of the town clerk by the supervisor's office, to wit, check run number 04072-025. Total amount hereby authorized to be paid, $706,899.12. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 3, Councilmember Burkhardt, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I'm offering Resolution 3 for adoption. Following building permit applications being hereby reaffirmed. There's 61 in the town, 18 in the village. Now therefore it be resolved that the building permit applications herein coded for conditional sidewalk waiver be and are hereby reaffirmed with a waiver of the town ordinance required for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition that the town of Lancaster, at any future date, reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property owner.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 4. Whereas on January 6, 2025, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster adopted a resolution appointing Carrie Kornacki to the position of lifeguard within the Town of Lancaster Parks and Recreation Department, and whereas an administrative error has been found and requires the following correction, named Carrie Kornacki, position recreation attendant, hourly rate $16, effective date January 2nd, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of Lancaster hereby recognizes the appointment of Carrie to the position of recreation attendant, part-time permanent position in the Town of Lancaster Youth Bureau, working not more than 19.5 hours, and that this being a part-time position provides no health insurance, sick days, vacation, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time employees. Be it further resolved that the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Schroeder, number 5, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 5. Whereas the Lancaster Garden Club has requested to use the Town of Lancaster Senior Center's parking lot and pavilion for their annual plant and garden decor fundraiser, which will be held on May 31st, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., with Garden Club members responsible for the setup and breakdown of the event, and whereas the Town Attorney's Office has prepared a release of liability and assumption of risk which provides the terms and conditions for the use of the Senior Center's parking lot and pavilion, which the club has executed and submitted with the required proof of liability insurance in advance of the event taking place. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby grants the Lancaster Garden Club permission to use the Senior Center's parking lot located at 100 Oxford Avenue for their plant and garden decor fundraiser, which will be held on May 31st, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
And do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 6. Whereas Diane Terranova, Town Clerk of Lancaster, by email request on March 11, 2025, has requested authorization for herself and Andrea Craig to attend the 43rd Annual New York State Town Clerks Association Conference located in Syracuse, New York, on April 27th through April 30th, 2025. And whereas the $125 per person registration fee will be paid from the town's 2025 budget line item 1410-404, and whereas the $200 mileage reimbursement will be paid for from the town's 2025 budget line item 1410-405, and whereas reimbursement for travel, lodging, and food for an approximate cost of $564 will be paid for with funds available in budget line 1410-404. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby authorizes Diane Terranova and Andrea to attend the 43rd Annual New York State Town Clerks Association Conference, April 28th through April 29th, 2025, for an approximate cost of $1,014 to be paid for from the town's 2025 budget line item 1410-405, and 1410-404. Be it further resolved that all requests for reimbursement must be presented in the form of original itemized receipts for actual and necessary expenses in accordance with the Town of Lancaster adopted reimbursement policy and submitted to the Director of Administration and Finance for the Town of Lancaster. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, number 7 and 8, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Board. I'm offering Resolution 7 and 8 for adoption. Whereas it is in the public interest to renew the intermunicipal agreement with the Town of Lancaster, which allows for the Town of Lancaster's Highway Department to collect materials, leaves, wood chips, brush, and other like materials, and deliver said materials to the Town of Clarence Highway Department for composting, and whereas the attorney for the Town of Lancaster, along with James Dussing, Superintendent of Highways for the Town of Lancaster, have negotiated and prepared a renewal for intermunicipal agreement setting forth the terms and conditions between the Town of Lancaster and the Town of Clarence. Now therefore it be it resolved as follows. Number 1, that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute an intermunicipal agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the Town of Clarence, allowing the Town of Lancaster Highway Department to collect and deliver materials to the Town of Clarence for the sole purpose of composting. This agreement shall commence on April 7th, 2025, and continue through December 31st, 2025. And 2, that the town attorney will distribute the executed copies in said agreement to the appropriate parties.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes.
Resolution 8, whereas William Gummo, Chief of Police for the Town of Lancaster, by email request dated March 10th, 2025, has requested authorization for Captain Jonathan Zeiders to attend the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia, from June 29th through September 4th, 2025. And whereas by attending this prestigious academy, Captain Zeiders will not only be benefiting himself, but the entire Lancaster Police Department by learning valuable information that he will be able to share within the department. And whereas Captain Zeiders will submit the necessary paperwork for travel reimbursement, cost of travel to and from Quantico, Virginia, which will be paid for with funds available in budget line 01-3120-404. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby authorizes Captain Jonathan Zeiders to attend the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia from June 29th through September 4th, 2025. Be it further resolved that all requests for reimbursement must be presented in the form of original itemized receipts for actual and necessary expenses in accordance with the Town of Lancaster adopted reimbursement policy and submitted to the Director of Administration and Finance for the Town of Lancaster.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
On the question, just let me state, I spent some time at the FBI Academy, one of the jobs that I had in federal law enforcement, did some training there. This is a big deal for one of our captains to be asked to attend this academy. We wish him well. Say congratulations to Captain Zeiders. On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 9. Whereas Robert Leary, Supervisor for the Town of Lancaster, has requested the creation of one new maintenance worker part-time position in the Town of Lancaster Building and Grounds Department. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster be and is hereby authorized to complete and submit Form P-017, new position duty statement, for authorization by the County of Erie Department of Personnel to create one position of maintenance worker part-time in the Building and Grounds Department. Be it further resolved that the Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 10, Councilmember Schroeder, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move a resolution number 10. Whereas the Town of Lancaster intends to apply for the Eastern Growing Tennis Together grant from the United States Tennis Association, a grant that is awarded to communities with an exceptionally strong dedication to the game of tennis. The grant is for an amount up to $1,000 and would be used for additional funding for the Town of Lancaster Tennis Program. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lancaster Town Board hereby authorizes and directs J. O'Connell and Associates, Inc., the town's grant consultant, to complete and submit the necessary application forms, etc., to the United States Tennis Association for the purpose of securing this grant.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Studley, you got 11 and 12, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Board. I move resolutions 11 and 12 for adoption. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has previously held a public hearing pursuant to Chapter 400-70, special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster upon the application of BNS Enterprises by Robert Sugg Jr. to authorize the operation of an automotive repair shop on premises located at 505 Erie Street, Building A. And the board issued such special use permit on April 4th, 2011. This special use permit is subject to renewal upon application by the property owner. And whereas Robert Sugg Jr., by letter dated March 11th, 2025, has requested that the town board renew the special use permit for an additional 2-year period. Whereas the supervising code enforcement officer has completed an on-site inspection and found the property to be in compliance with the original conditions of the special use permit. Now therefore be it resolved as follows, that pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning entitled General Commercial District of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, the Town Board does hereby grant a special use permit renewal to BNS Enterprises, authorizing the automotive repair facility on premises located at 505 Erie Street, Building A, upon the terms and conditions as set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period beginning April 4th, 2025 and ending April 3rd, 2027, and that the applicant will continue in compliance with conditions as set forth in Chapter 400-78 of the special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster and to any additional conditions listed herein, as long as the applicant continues to engage in automotive repair shop on the premises, namely, and then there are 6 conditions, the 6 original conditions are listed.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes.
And Resolution number 12, whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has previously held a public hearing on March 6, 2023, pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning, Section 78, special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, upon the application of Villa Incorporated by Peter Ed, DBA Pan Pizza Company, as designee for Ream Transit Associates, owner of 0 Ream Road, for a special use permit to operate a takeout restaurant on premises located at 0 Ream Road, locally known as Building B, Suite 525, in accordance with provisions of Chapter 400 zoning, Section 400-18, General Commercial District of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and whereas by letter dated March 18th, 2025, Peter has requested that the town board renew the special use permit for an additional 2-year period, and whereas Code Enforcement Officer Matt Fischione has recommended his approval to renew this special use permit renewal in his letter dated March 25th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Chapter 400 zoning, Article 5, Commercial Districts, Section 400-18, General Commercial District of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant a special use permit renewal to the Pan Pizza Company as designee for Ream Road Transit Associates, owner of 0 Ream Road, Lancaster, New York, has submitted application for special use permit to operate a restaurant on the premises locally known as Building B, Suite 525, in accordance with provisions of Chapter 400 zoning, Section 18, B1A of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and that the applicant will continue in compliance with conditions set forth in Section 400-18, General Commercial District, Section 419, Supplementary Regulations for LC and GC districts, and Section 78, Section 400-78, special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and to any additional conditions listed herein, as long as the applicant continues to engage in the occupation listed above on the premises, namely,
And A is permit must be renewed every 2 years at no additional cost to applicant. Renewal is considered upon the property owner submitting a request in writing to the town clerk on or before March 19th, 2027. And B is applicant will provide a copy of the business's New York State or federal tax employer identification number, and when applicable, a license from the appropriate regulatory agency for the service being provided.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 13, Councilmember Burkhardt, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Board. I offer Resolution 13 for adoption. Whereas pursuant to Article 7, Section 7.1 of the CSEA Local 1000, AFL CIO Local 815, Town of Lancaster, White Collar Unit, a leave of absence without pay can be granted with approval from the Town Board of Lancaster. And whereas employee Bruce Stutz, Parks Crew Chief for the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department, has requested an extension of his leave of absence. And whereas the Town Board of Lancaster has reviewed the request and wishes to extend the leave of absence without pay for Bruce Stutz until June 7th, 2025. Now therefore it be it resolved that the leave of absence without pay is hereby extended for employee Bruce Stutz until June 7th, 2025.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 14, Councilmember Studley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 14 for adoption. Whereas by email dated March 25th, 2025, Diane Terranova, our town clerk for the town of Lancaster, has requested the purchase of 11 drawers to be added to the town clerk's vault space file system. And whereas the above mentioned drawers are available through Millington Lockwood, 3901 Genesee Street, Suite 801, Buffalo, New York. There's a state purchase contract number in there, and whereas the total cost is $2,964 and will be paid out of the town clerk budget line for office furniture and equipment, and whereas the town board of the town of Lancaster has previously adopted an operating budget for the 2025 fiscal year, and whereas the 2025 operating budget requires the following budget transfer to the town clerk budget line, office furniture and equipment, to allow for this expenditure. So we're transferring $1,500 from internet access to office furniture and equipment. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves the expenditure of funds as requested by Diane Terranova, town clerk for the town of Lancaster, to Millington Lockwood, Inc., in the total amount of $2,964 for the purchase of 11 drawers, and be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves and authorizes a budget transfer in the 2025 operating budget in the amount of $1,500 from the budget line internet access to the budget line office furniture and equipment.
And do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 15, whereas the Broadway Group LLC, the applicant, has submitted an application to the town of Lancaster, the town, to develop a 10,640 square foot retail store with related parking, landscaping, lighting, stormwater management, and connection to public utilities, known as the project, located on approximately 1.25 acres of the northeast corner of Walden Avenue and Quail Run Lane, 3972 Walden Avenue, SBL number 94.17-1-48 in the town. And whereas the Town of Lancaster Town Board has established itself as the lead agency pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and the Town Board hereby ratifies such designation. And whereas the Town Board has determined that the action is an unlisted action under seeker, and whereas the Town Board has issued a positive declaration of environmental significance and required the applicant to prepare and submit a draft scope to the Town Board in accordance with 6 NYCRR Section 617.8, and whereas the applicant submitted the site plan draft scoping document, which is subject to public review and comment, and at the direction of the Town Board, a public meeting to discuss the site plan prior to the issuance of the final site plan, final scoping document, prior to the issuance of the final site plan, and whereas the public comment period shall be open until the close of business on May 8th, 2025, and whereas the town board will hold a public scoping meeting on May 5th, 2025 at 7:05 p.m. at the regular meeting of the Town of Lancaster Town Board, and whereas the town requires the use of professional services such as engineering and counsel to properly evaluate the project and the forthcoming draft environmental impact statement, and the town code and seeker provide the authority to require that the applicant provide funds to be held in escrow for such purposes in the amount of 2% of the total project value. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster as follows. 1, the comment period on the draft scope document is hereby opened and will be held open until May 8, 2025 at the close of business. 2, a public scoping meeting is hereby scheduled for May 5th, 2025 at 7:05 p.m. at the Lancaster Town Hall, right here at 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York. 3, the town engineer is hereby directed to evaluate the project documents in order to identify a project value, 2% of which is value required to be deposited by the applicant into an escrow account managed by the town for the town's professional services in the scoping process. 4, the town clerk shall file a copy of the positive declaration in the file for the project. 5, the resolution is effective immediately. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Okay. Resolution number 16, Councilmember Schroeder.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 16. Whereas the quotes for the renovation of the baseball diamond at Kiza Park have been solicited, and whereas 3 quotes were received, opened, and reviewed on March 24, 2025 at 10 a.m., and whereas Edward Schiller, P.E., the town's consulting engineer, has recommended awarding the quote to Rich's Sports Field of 110 Pavement Road, Lancaster, New York, being the lowest quote in the amount of $31,200. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby awards the request for quote of the renovation of the baseball diamond at Kiza Park to Rich's Sports Fields, Inc., in an amount not to exceed $31,200, being the lowest quote in conformance with the specifications on file in the office of Williams Shutt and Associates. And be it further resolved that the expense will be paid from budget line item rec filing fees, other capital outlay. Be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute the contract upon receipt and approval of the required documents and insurance certificates by the town attorney's office.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? Basically, we said we were going to try to fix up the diamonds at Kiza Park to make them compatible with what's at Westwood Park, so we got more playing area for our kids to play baseball. So that's what we're trying to do. On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Schroeder, I'm sorry, you also have number 17.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 17. Whereas the town of Lancaster has a band shell to facilitate the community enjoyment of various outdoor performances and events located at 100 Oxford Avenue within the town of Lancaster, and whereas by email request, Dawn Schroeder, council member for the town of Lancaster, has requested that Nashville North, Kimmy Buffett, 4:45 RPM, Back to the Bars, Midnight Kings, and Terry Buckwald as Elvis be hired to perform at the band shell during the summer of 2025, and whereas agreements have been prepared and presented by Tom McGill, Star Trek Productions, and Terry Buckwald for the following dates and times: June 25th, July 9th, July 16th, July 23rd, July 30th, and August 6th. All performances being held from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the town's band shell for an amount not to exceed $7,900, of which $6,900 to Tom McGill at Starstruck and $1,000 to Terrence Buckwald. Whereas the agreements have been reviewed and approved by the town attorney, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute the agreements between the town of Lancaster and Tom McGill, Star Trek Productions, and Terry Buckwald for an amount not to exceed $7,900, which will be paid for with funds from the town's 2025 Playgrounds and Recreation Special Celebrations budget line item.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? Looking forward to all the different bands being there. And on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Studley, number 18, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Board. I Move Resolution 18 for adoption, whereas the town of Lancaster would like to formally adopt a social media policy to enhance communication and provide employees with guidelines for posting information on social media platforms, and whereas the town board has given due review and consideration to the adoption of the social media policy and finds it to be in the best interest to adopt said policy. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby adopts a social media policy effective immediately. Be it further resolved that the social media policy will be emailed to all department heads for distribution and provided to all future town employees upon hire. Each employee, current and new, shall be required to sign receipt of said policy.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 19, whereas the municipal home rule law of the state of New York and Chapter 26 of the Town of Lancaster Code provide for the adoption and enactment of local laws, and whereas the Town of Lancaster Town Board is proposing a local law revision to Part 2 General Legislation, Chapter 400 of the Town of Lancaster Code zoning, and whereas the board has duly considered the action, the environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in 6 NYCRR Section 617.7C and such other information deemed appropriate, and whereas the proposed action has been labeled a Type 1 action under seeker, and whereas the board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas and has made a reasoned elaboration of the basis for its determination. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster, based upon a thorough review and examination of the known facts relating to the action and its careful review of all potentially adverse environmental impacts and the entire record and the proceedings related to the action, the board finds that the action will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and the draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. The attached negative declaration incorporated herein by reference is issued and adopted for the reasons stated in the attached negative declaration. The town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to distribute copies of the resolution as necessary. 4, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance and will distribute with all required New York State and Erie County agencies filing a copy of the letters of transmittal. And 5, this resolution is effective immediately. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 20, whereas the municipal home rule law of the state of New York and Chapter 26 of the Town of Lancaster Code provide for the adoption and enactment of local laws, and whereas the Town of Lancaster Town Board is proposing a local law revision to Part 2 General Legislation, Chapter 400 of the Town of Lancaster Code zoning, and whereas parcels affected by the change in zoning are identified in Schedule A, Schedule B, and Schedule C of the local law, and whereas the board has duly considered the action, the environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in 6 New York CRR 617C, and such other information deemed appropriate, and whereas the proposed action has been labeled a Type 1 action under seeker, and whereas the board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas and has made a reasoned elaboration of the basis for its determination. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that, 1, based upon a thorough review and examination of the known facts relating to the action and its careful review of all potentially adverse environmental impacts and the entire record and proceeding relating to the action, the board finds that the action will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and that a draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. 2, the attached negative declaration incorporated herein by reference is issued and adopted for the reasons stated in the attached negative declaration. 3, the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to distribute copies of the resolution as necessary. 4, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance and will distribute with all required New York State and Erie County agencies filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. And 5, this resolution is effective immediately. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 21, whereas the municipal home rule law of the state of New York and Chapter 26 of the Town of Lancaster Code provide for the adoption and enactment of local laws, and whereas the Town of Lancaster Town Board is proposing a local law revision to Part 2 General Legislation, Chapter 258 of the Town of Lancaster Code, setting of fees, and whereas the board has duly considered the action, the environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in 6 New York CRR 6177C, and such other information deemed appropriate, and whereas the proposed action has been labeled a Type 1 action under seeker, and whereas the board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas, and has made a reasoned elaboration of the basis for its determination. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that 1, based upon a thorough review and examination of the known facts relating to the action, and its careful review of all potentially adverse environmental impacts, and the entire record and proceedings relating to the action, the board finds that the action will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and that a draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. 2, the attached negative declaration incorporated herein by reference is issued and adopted for the reasons stated in the attached negative declaration. 3, the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to distribute copies of the resolution as necessary. 4, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance and will distribute with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. And 5, this resolution is effective immediately. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Studley.
Yes.
Supervisor Leary.
Yes. Resolution number 22, whereas Judge David S. Stabler, Town Justice for the Town of Lancaster, by email dated March 13, 2025, has requested the following court officers be changed from part-time provisional to a part-time permanent position for the Town of Lancaster Justice Court. The following: Stephen Rosler, Joshua Menninger, Edward Pastorek, Justin Everett, are all going from part-time, where are we here? Part-time provisional to part-time permanent. All will receive a rate of $23.17. Whereas the above court officers passed the civil service examination and are eligible for permanent appointment to this position pursuant to the standards and procedures set forth in the civil service law, now therefore be it resolved that the following individuals are hereby appointed to the part-time permanent position of court officers in the Town of Lancaster Justice Court, working not more than 19 and a half hours per week, being contingent upon approval by the Erie County Department of Personnel, and that this being a part-time position provides no health insurance, sick days, vacations, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time temporary employees. Be it further resolved that the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder. Yes. Councilmember Studley.
Yes.
Supervisor Leary.
Yes. Resolution number 23. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster, New York recognizes the need to properly account for and manage revenues and expenditures related to the operation, maintenance, and improvement of the police gun range, and whereas the Town Board has determined that the establishment of a district special revenue fund is, is necessary to ensure transparency, accountability, and compliance with applicable federal and state laws and regulations regarding municipal finances, and whereas revenues and expenditures related to the police gun range are currently accounted for within the SR 031 Police Asset Forfeiture Fund, and it is deemed appropriate to separate these activities into a new fund to improve financial clarity and oversight, and whereas pursuant to Section 103 of New York State Town Law, the Town Board has the authority to establish special revenue funds for specific purposes and to direct the administration of such funds. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster as follows. 1, establishment of the Special Revenue Fund SR-032, Police Gun Range Fund. The Town Board hereby establishes a new Special Revenue Fund to be designated at SR-032, Police Gun Range Fund. This fund shall be used exclusively to account for all revenues, including but not limited to user fees, grants, donations, and appropriations, and all expenditures related to the operation, maintenance, training activities, and capital improvements of the police gun range. 2, authorization of fund separation. The Director of Administration and Finance is hereby authorized and directed to separate all financial activity related to the police gun range from the SR-031 Police Asset Forfeiture Fund. This separation shall include the transfer of existing gun range-related revenues, expenditures, or balances from SR-031 to the newly established SR-032 Police Gun Range Fund, effective immediately upon adoption of this resolution. 3, accounting and reporting. The Director of Administration and Finance shall ensure that all transactions related to the police gun range are recorded in the SR 032 Police Gun Range Fund, and that appropriate accounting records are maintained in accordance with the Uniform System of Accounts prescribed by New York State Comptroller. For effective date, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption by the town board. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. I'd like to request the suspension of the necessary rules for immediate consideration in the following resolution. Do I have a motion to suspend?
So moved?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution, whereas Nathan Rexinger, applicant, submitted an application for White Maple Dental, PLLC, for the interior and exterior renovations of a former community residence to a dental office on approximately 1.8612 acre parcel located at 460 Ransom Road, SBL number 117-00-1-27.112 in the town of Lancaster, is prepared by Sutton Architect, containing a site plan dated 2/11/25 and a boundary survey dated 8/18/2006, received by the town of Lancaster Building Department, and whereas the town, acting as lead agency, duly considered the request for the project, including the recommendation of the town of Lancaster Planning Board in conformance with seeker regulations, and this was determined to be a type 2 seeker, no further action was needed, and whereas the planning board recommended to the town board on March 19, 2025, the approval of the site plan is submitted and in conformance with town building and zoning codes. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves the site plan submitted for White Maple Dental, located at 460 Ransom Road, prepared by Sutton Architecture, containing drawings listed previously in this resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Okay, we're going to move on to the communications at this point. As I find my communications. Yeah, can I borrow your copy there? Okay. Okay, 161, resolution tonight. 166, Planning and Zoning Committee. 167, Planning and Zoning Committee. 168, Planning and Zoning Committee. 169, 170 are both Planning and Zoning Committee. 171 was resolution tonight. 172, resolution tonight. 173, received and filed. 174, resolution tonight. 175, received and filed. 176, resolution on tonight, as is 177, resolution tonight. 178, received and filed. 179, received and filed. 180, received and filed. 181, Planning and Zoning Committee. 182, received and filed and canceled. 183, received and filed. 184, received and filed. 185, received and filed. I'm sorry, no, that is Planning and Zoning Committee on 185. 186 is Planning and Zoning Committee. 187, received and filed. 188, Planning and Zoning Committee. 189, received and filed. 190, received and filed. 191 and 192, received and filed. Thank you very much. Okay. The town board will, at this point in time, the town board will hear the concerns of persons desiring to address the town board on any town of Lancaster subject for a total period of 30 minutes. The procedures are to raise your hand, be recognized by the supervisor, give your name and address to the town clerk, speak directly to the town board members, not the audience, using the microphone provided right up here at the podium. Number 4, speak once for 5 minutes or less unless the town board grants a speaker an extension of this time limit. Number 5, any unruly activity, including yelling or name-calling, will result in expulsion from the meetings. Do we have anyone in the audience tonight that wants to speak on any town of Lancaster subject? Raise your hand. Yes, ma'am.
name's Karen Wheel, 1 Henslow Way, and I just wondering, what would be the procedure for me to get the town to look at adding a street light on Avian Way? There's an area between Henslow and the curve where you have a large pond towards the west and like a wetland area on the east, to the east. So there's no ambient lighting coming from any residences, and it's quite a stretch of road, and it is dangerous. It's a safety issue, in my opinion. So what would be the proper procedure for me to bring that to someone's attention and have that looked at?
Make the request in writing to, I guess start with the highway department. And
Highway
yeah,
department?
And they don't, streetlights are carried out by, or streetlights are being done by Parks now, I believe.
Yeah, Cameron's in charge of the
Yeah, so I'm-
streetlights that belong to the town of
Yeah.
Lancaster. Right.
Yeah, correct, yeah,
Yeah.
this would be a town light.
Yep.
So, make the request to the Parks Department
Parks Department?
for a streetlight. Tell them-
Is that Mr. Ciccarelli?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, you're talking about the area where the culvert is, basically, where the,
Yes,
Yeah,
there's like a wetland area there, and then on the other side, there's that large pond, and there's like, it's just walking into a dark abyss.
yeah, make that request, and then we can look at what it would take to add a pole and run the wire.
What was that again?
I said, we can make the request, and then we'll take a look at adding the pole and running the wire.
Okay, thank you. So write him a letter or email him?
Either one would be fine.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Do you have his email?
No.
Okay.
No, is it online?
Can you write that down?
Yeah, I'll write it down.
And we'll give it to you. And then we'll take a look at it and see what, what we can do.
Spelling it is.
CICC.
That's why I didn't want to do it.
ARELLI.
CICCARELLI.
I'm sorry, repeat.
CICCARELLI.
He's a great guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Talked to him before about some of her situations. Just personable
Great. Glad to hear that.
and attentive. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Do we have anybody else that wants to be heard on any other matter concerning the town of Lancaster? Please raise your hand. Mr. Sweeney.
Tom Sweeney, 22 Ashwood Court, Lancaster. I haven't seen or heard anything about the Boys and Girls Club tonight. There were obviously no resolutions, so I wanted to see if our community can get an update on that, and please confirm that we haven't spent more time this week spending $8,000 hiring Elvis to come play than we did on the Boys and Girls Club this year on Resolution 17. I'm sure we would like an update.
Okay, thank you. At this point in time, we're continuing discussions within the town board, and I'm hoping that we can have something resolved very soon. If we do get something resolved, I'll call for a special town board meeting to make sure that it gets adopted as soon as possible. Anybody else that's good to the rest of the town board members?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Does anybody else want to be, and I don't think we paid $8,000 for Elvis to appear
No,
there.
Terry Buckwald's contract was $1,000.
There
Yes.
are 6 members of the concert series that will be playing in Resolution 17 this summer, right, for $8,000?
There are 6 bands in total, yes,
Yeah, but
Just want to make sure we're spending our money.
but not entirely on Mr. Buckwald.
okay. Does anybody else want to be heard on any matter? Okay, seeing no show of hands, can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Yes. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Everybody have a great night.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course.
I'll jump you tomorrow. You in tomorrow morning? Well, I may or may not be. Pretty busy.
How do you simplify it?